Welcome back to the Globe Girl Podcast. I'm Kyra. All right, I want to welcome Jen to the show. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you. Hi.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into our conversation by having you tell the audience listening or watching who you are and what you do.
So I am Jeneffer Joe, and I help introverted coaches break into the coaching industry and sign their first paying clients, even if they haven't completed a certification program and hate sales. So it is my passion. It is what I had to learn the difficult way. So now I get to help other people do it.
Oh, I love that. Love everything about it. And I love that you do help introverted coaches because I think people oftentimes just think that, people who have these positions where they service and help others that, oh, they must be an extrovert.
And I saw that like when I was trying to build my business, a lot of the people that I was following, they had these very big, loud personalities. And a lot of what they were teaching was like about showing up on social media every single day, being very visible, going live. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, even if I tried, I have a full-time job. Like, I have to commute an hour each way. Like, this is not sustainable. And if you're telling me this is the way to build my business, then you're saying I can't have a business. And I just refuse to believe that. Right. So I just kept trying and I kept trying and I had to find a way that worked for me, which really helped me go from struggling for years to going full time the following year once I figured it out. I was like beyond excited when I made my first dollars coaching. And I was like, oh my gosh, this works. I got it. Okay.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And thank you so much for sharing that because I think that is something that we all hear, all the time. I remember someone telling me like, oh, you got to show up on social media. You got to do lives. You got to go live every day. And I was like, that's just not my personality. Like, I don't want to do that every day. And I was like, I don't want to do it every day, like at all.
Yeah, no, I tried though. I think I did a month on my like best. And that wasn't even going live. That was like some type of post and every site would post as well. So 30 days was the max I could do. So forget if I had to do it multiple times every single day. It was just not happening.
And just like you said, I mean, I think a lot of times when you think about people who are entrepreneurs, a lot of times they are workingpreneurs. So there is another job that you're trying to do. You're trying to do your business after you get off of your regular job. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, I can't just be stopping during the day and like going live. And also too, like sometimes to me personally, for me, sometimes it just feels inauthentic when people are just like jumping on the like just for the sake of jumping on. And I'm like, I want if I do decide to do that for people to go, oh wow, like she must really have something she wanted to share.
Yes, quality over quantity is what I say. But I know that to build a business, I did need to find a way to attract clients regularly. It couldn't just be when I felt like it. And one of the things that was my saving grace is going to places where people were already seeking coaching and being so good at connecting with them and having a sales call process that really brought them in to say, okay, this was going to be my way. Right. And it only required me to show up to that platform, like maybe 5-10 minutes, right? 2-3 times a day, just making sure that I'm like staying on top of it. But then now they started feeding me clients automatically and I didn't even have to spend so much time doing that. So marketing was kind of done for me. Right. So like, that was the way I was like, okay, so I don't even, social media is just extra if I feel like doing it. Right?
Thank you. Yes. That's the ultimate thing. It's just like this. So like for people to get to a place where social media is just the add-on, like it's not the way and the only way, but it's just something additional.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So tell us how did you get into coaching?
Yeah, so my background is in education, and I mean, I did everything from teaching to training teachers to writing curriculum. I had my own curriculum writing company at one point, but there became a point where I was like deep in education. I knew the next level was to be a principal. And I was like, that's not really what I want to do. And everyone's just like, yeah, this is the path. Like, isn't it great? And I'm like, no, it's really not great. Like, I really don't want this. So I was really into personal development at the time, and everything that I was like reading and watching, they were all referencing having a coach and like, like make sure you have a coach. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it's time for me to get a coach. So I hired my first coach to help me with figuring out what I wanted to do because I knew I couldn't give education another 20 years before I retired. I was like, that's just not going to work for me. And just the lifestyle that I wanted to live, it was never going to coincide with the traditional educational system in the US. And working with my coach, I shared a vision that I had, right? And I had this vision in 2016. No, I shared it with her in 2016, but I think I had it like a year or so prior. And it
Mhm.
was like my first time sharing this idea of helping people reach their goals.
Mhm.
And I thought it was like kind of silly because I was like, I don't know who gets paid to do that? That sounds so strange. But she explained to me that that was coaching. And I just didn't believe her at first. I was like, no, you're kind of listening to my problems right now. I don't want to do that. That's different. um, I eventually came around to it and I was like, oh, yeah, she's right. So 2017, I kind of started telling people like, this is what I wanted to do. 2018, I went and got certified. And during that whole time, I was trying to sign clients from 2017,
Mhm.
2018. I was trying to sign clients. And then it wasn't until 2019 that I cracked the code and I was like, oh, this is what I got to do. So that's when I first started making money. But by the following year, I was able to go full time in my business, which was amazing.
Yes, I love that. And it's very, very awesome. Yeah, I mean, having a coach, I have to chuckle because I think it's so funny. I love the realness of you saying, "Yay, are you sure?"
Oh, yeah.
I love that because I think so many times, like people, when you do have coaches, so when people accept that, like, oh, having a coach is a good thing, then they get a coach. Then when the coach starts to coach them, sometimes people are like, I mean,
Yeah.
is this real life? Like,
Well, and like me, I was used to being in the traditional system, right? Like
mhm,
education, you go get your degree and then you do
of
this job
course.
and then you retire from it. So the idea of someone saying I could be a coach supporting other people in this
Mhm,
way filled me with so much self-doubt. All right.
mhm.
Not only like who am I to be telling people how they should be living their lives when I feel like my life is in shambles right now because I'm hiring you. Like I gotta figure my stuff out. And then also the fact that I am an introvert. So it's like, wait, you want me to be a business owner and like go and like promote
Mhm.
myself? Like that just seems really off. Like,
You're like, it's just too
so,
much.
yeah, it's just too much. You're asking too much of me, right? So
Yeah.
having to work through that, and I think that's why it took me so long because I had
Mhm,
to one reconcile that that was there, those thoughts and those feelings and that self doubt was
mhm.
present, and I had to be able to work through it to get to the other side to say, okay, you know what, I do have value and I can help somebody,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yes. And I love that because it is really important for coaches to have coaches. And I think a lot of people don't realize that that is what they do. Like they have coaches. My coach has a coach. Like they have people who pour into them and help them because if we're being real, we all have moments of self doubt in whatever it is we're doing. So whether you're coaching somebody on like business or you're coaching somebody on marketing or or whatever it is, we all have to have someone else to pour into us and listen to our ideas and say, yeah, that makes sense. That's a smart next move for your business because Lord knows my coach would hear like all these things. Like I'm always coming. I'm like, okay, let me tell you got this idea. And, and I think it's important, for people to find a coach that aligns to them and someone who, you want someone who's going, to challenge you, but then also someone who can invest in your dream because I
Yeah.
think that's like super important because if you're just working with somebody who's like, well, I just need a client and I just want to make some money, then it's never gonna work because it's not gonna align in the end.
Yeah, I think definitely finding someone that has done something that you're excited about or you feel like a connection to them in the way that
Hmm.
they coach, right?
Hmm.
Um, not to say that they necessarily have to have done what you wanted to do, but like there's a relationship or there's enough
Right.
trust so that
Yeah.
you value what their input, right?
Yeah.
What you
Yeah. Because I think it's important. Like if you see someone, so like with you, if you see someone who is this was Jen's path, and she ultimately left her full time job, and she is running her business full time, and you're like, well, that is where I want to be. So of course that is immediate alignment, right? Because you're like, she's done the thing that I want to do. And
yeah,
and that I think that's always so important is to find people who have done, who have accomplished the things, the goals that you're trying to meet. Like you can't be coached by someone who's on the same path as you. I mean,
yeah,
like unfortunately, because I mean you've got to know how to get there. Like if and they can tell you how to get there. So let's talk about why you did. Okay, so you said I want to be a coach and then I want to help people like me. You want to help other introverts. Why is that so important for you in the work that you do?
Yeah. So when I started coaching, I did not jump to helping coaches. Like I needed to gain the experience of
Mhm.
building my business, learning how to sign those clients, right? So I started out as a career coach and I did very well as a career coach. And then my second client ever, he was the one, he was like, Jen, he was a coach and he wanted help like finishing his certification program and like doing, signing his clients or
Mhm.
whatever. And I helped him do that. And he was like, you should help other coaches. And I was like, you know what? Will at some point, but I need to get my stuff together first. So I feel like I have enough value to add there.
Mhm.
Um, and so eventually I did after a few years of coaching clients on helping them get jobs and taking on a few of those coaches,
Mhm.
right? Like I mixed it in and then it became, okay, now I have mostly coaches and I just a few career coaching clients, right? Then I was like, okay,
Mhm.
yes, I'm ready to really say that this is who I help. This is what I do. And these are the results that they can get because I
Mhm.
had proven it through working with so many different clients, like, okay, my process works because I really tune into what that particular person needs and what their
Yes.
way of marketing their services is going to be. It's not this one size fits all. It's not do
Mhm.
what I did. I want you to try it and be open to it. But let's find what you can do and what's sustainable for you. So
Mhm.
for one client, it was TikTok. She killed it on TikTok. She loves it. I'm like, great, go ahead. Another client would go to networking events. I mean, her homegirl had a boot on her foot one time. And I was like, where are you going? She's like, oh, I'm sitting outside because I'm going to this event. Like she was like committed to it. That was her way. I was like, okay, girl,
Mhm.
go ahead. But mine has been, being on directories and referrals, right? So it's podcasting is one. So everyone has their way to do it, and I just
Mhm.
want to help them find success because
Mhm.
I know when it takes too long to find success in this coaching thing, they quit. And I
Mhm.
don't want them to quit on what could be the best decision that they ever made, but could lead to so much other aspects of their life kind of falling into place
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
they've given themselves the freedom of having this coaching business the way I
Mhm.
have.
All right, let me just say, first of all, I just love everything that you just said. And I think it's so important for what you said as far as meeting people where they are. And it's not a one size fits all approach. I mean, you get to know your clients and you get to understand like who they are as people and what might work for them. Like you said, like TikTok's not going to be for everybody. And networking is for your other client. And it's finding those things that feel ownable to them where they feel like they shine, because you get so many people who just say, well, everybody's on TikTok, so you need to be on TikTok. And it's like, no, not really. I mean,
Yeah.
like, if that's not who you are, I mean, you can't force yourself to be something that you're not. And if you do it, like you said, the other keyword, it's not sustainable. And and if you find the thing, like I've found, like if you find the thing that works for you and feels natural to you, then it doesn't even feel like a thing. Like it's just you're just doing it.
Yes, there's a lot less resistance there, right? Because
Yeah.
that's a lot of what the time wasting happens in is the overthinking and the resistance that's present and working through that to actually then go take the action. I'm like, we don't have time to do that. Like when you're starting a coaching practice, like you have a full-time job, you have a family, maybe like you have a full life. Like we need the fastest way for you to actually get out there and do the thing. Okay,
Mhm.
what's that going to be that you already feel good at and
Mhm.
natural? Right? Maybe teach you a few skills to make it more effective. Okay, then let's do that. Right? There's so
Mhm.
many different ways to build a business, and I want my clients to be willing to find theirs.
Yeah. Yes. Now I know we've talked about a few of the obstacles that some of the clients that you post face. Are there some other ones that you've noticed as you have met new clients?
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing comes back to prioritization, right? So one, they struggle to believe that it's possible, some of them, so they don't prioritize it. So then that's when it's like, oh,
Mhm.
well, I got really busy with work or this other thing
Mhm.
came up or I have to be. And it's like, you don't see all that you're like, I know it's hard to see it because you haven't made money doing it, you haven't sent
Mhm.
clients, you don't have that success yet, but you don't ever get to the part where you get to have that success unless you prioritize it now.
Right.
right? And then the other thing with prioritization is they're prioritizing the wrong thing. So those people that are like putting in hours and like, well, I already worked 20 hours this week on my business or 30 hours or 40 hours. It's like, yeah, but what are you doing? What are you
Mhm.
working on, right? And these are the people that are spending days deciding on the business name, the logo. They're stressing about the websites, their tagline. They're doing like so much research. It's like,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
friend, at some point we have to actually just go and speak to the people that we want to go help,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
just got to go out there and do the things, right? So they're stressing about a lot of the things that they don't need to be stressing about yet. So prioritizing the wrong things
Mhm.
are the main
Yeah.
things. And that's why like I really wanted to help people like understand what to prioritize. So I created an assessment for them. It's a free assessment that they can go take at jenjoe.com/assessment to really understand how close they are to actually doing the things that matter. Right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, like
Yeah.
I'll tell you, okay, you're this percentage away from signing that first client because, you've been doing these things when you need to be doing these things.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times too, yeah, entrepreneurs, you're doing things like you said, you're doing sort of busy work just to say that you're working the business,
Yeah.
but and to your point, but you're not prioritizing the right things. And I think I find a lot of times that things like social media end up in that because everybody thinks
Oh,
like, oh yeah, I gotta spend time like working, creating content and I gotta do posts and da da da. And it's like, yeah, I mean, to me, like social media has just is so like oversaturated now that like unless you're spending tons of money to promote your thing, but then of course you're promoting your thing, but everybody else is promoting that same thing as well. So
yeah.
it's like finding those more natural, more because now social media, I don't know, it doesn't have authenticity anymore because everybody feels like they have to be there.
Yeah, and I mean, you're competing against people that have hundreds of thousands of money backing them to promote their,
Hmm.
their thing. Like you're also competing for people's attention. I think that's
Yeah.
like the key thing, right? Like people
Hmm.
go to social media because they want to escape, they want to be entertained. They're not necessarily going there with the intention of purchasing something.
Right.
Right? Unless you're putting a lot of money behind your ads to really put it in front of the right people, right? Multiple times and hoping that they see it,
Yes.
they go
Yeah.
down through this funnel, like there's more
Mhm.
direct ways to connect with potential
Yeah.
clients that are really ready for your services.
Yeah. And I think that's the key thing because, like you said, it's got to be there multiple times. Like if you just got enough money to do like 1 month, that's not going to be it because
So it's
they've
a
got to,
long term.
yeah, they've got to see it. Okay. Well, let's talk about your life as an entrepreneur. So, as you know, a lot of people who watch this show are entrepreneurs, workingpreneurs also. What would you say are some of the pros and cons of the life as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think this is the best gift I've ever given myself, honestly.
Mhm.
It's not all perfect, but there are some serious pros like the time freedom that I get. I get to
Mhm.
create my own hours. I have no cap on how much I'm going to make because that is up to me, right? I set my pricing, I set how many clients I take on, I set the container in which they work with me in. I get to pick who gets to work with me, right? I don't have to
Mhm.
accept everybody. I get to
Yeah.
just coach on the things that I actually care about. And as a result of that, I'm constantly learning and improving my skills on things that I care about, right?
Mhm.
And then one of the best gifts is that I get to do my work from anywhere in the world. So, and I don't have a
Yes.
boss. Like I'm the boss. I get to make the
Yes.
rules, and I get to change them if I don't like how something's working. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's the
I
best.
love that. I love that so much. And I love that for you. I love that for anyone. I aspire to be there one day myself. So I am very pleased in hearing you talk about it because you were already lit up talking about what you do, but when you started to talk about just your face, your smile, like it's just awesome to see.
Yeah, it's just a huge shift from what my life was like before.
Mhm.
And I'm just so thankful for past Jen who was willing to do the work, put in the hours, deal with the discomfort, keep showing up and doing the things to learn and to attract clients to be able to build the life that she has now. Yeah.
Yes. Now tell me about moving abroad.
Oh, that is like the best thing ever. I currently live in Mexico, as you know, and I wanted to live abroad in my 20s, actually. Like, I wanted to study abroad, but by the time I was like ready and had the courage to do it, they were like, "Well, you already took the classes that you would have taken." And I was like, "What? I'm not going to pay extra to go." So then at 24, I spent a month traveling solo throughout Europe, trying to find a country that I really liked.
Mhm.
Ended up coming back to the US. Didn't know it would take me that long. Like a decade later, I was
Mhm.
again like, I want to do this thing. And then I read The 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. I think I actually reread it at that time. And I was like inspired again to say, okay, now's the time. We got to go move abroad. We got to do this. So
Mhm.
I had declared that I was moving abroad in 2019. I said, I'm going to quit my job in 2020 and I'm going to go live abroad. And so we know what happened in 2020. So my plans were delayed a little bit as far as like
Mhm.
my moving abroad, but I have now lived in Mexico since the end of 2022. I moved out here. I live in Merida and it's the most peaceful place. It's beautiful, it's quaint. I have a strong community. I feel
Mhm.
so connected and supported, and life is just nice and slower. And,
Nice, nice.
uh,
Awesome. I love that. I love that. I love that. I love hearing that. It's so nice. I feel like in that moment when you were talking about, I felt like I was there. I was like, oh, I live there too. It's so nice.
you should come. There's a huge expat community, and we are very connected and supportive. So, yeah, I
Awesome.
tell everybody, listen, come. You'll want to stay too.
All right, Jen, can you tell us about any programs you offer and how the audience can connect to you or work with you?
Yeah, so I offer one-on-one coaching and a small intimate group coaching program as well for those new coaches or those who have been in it and haven't found success and want to start making money doing what they love. So you can get with or find me on your favorite social media platforms at Jen Joe Coaching, or just email me directly at jenjoecoaching@gmail.com to connect with me. I'm happy to I offer free consultation calls to talk about it. I want everyone who comes to my work to feel 100% about doing it with me. So I want that, opportunity to talk to you about anything that may come up and offer some
Awesome.
support. Yeah.
Awesome. And we'll make sure we drop all those links in the show notes as well. All right. Well, I have been so pleased by this conversation. I thank you for the work that you do because there are a lot of people, who, especially when you think about like if you're introverted or extroverted, I mean, just having someone to align and who understands who you are as a person, especially when you're introverted, is just so important. And finding a coach that like matches and a coach that understands and has gone through that, who lives every day, as and I also love that you people just being able to hear you and talk and listen to you because I think so many times people think introverted people are like, oh, they don't say anything and they're so quiet. And I just think like I'm so glad we get to like slash down those types of like misconceptions because they really are like I'm always like people are like, oh, you're extrovert. I'm like, I'm like an intro extro because I really like I can give so much and then it's like I need to like retreat.
Yeah. So I'm like, people are like, oh, you don't seem shy. I'm like, I'm not shy. I'm very comfortable in myself. And like,
Mhm.
I'm okay socializing with people. But I mean, in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, this is a lot of my energy going out to these people. Can't wait
Yeah,
to get home. Can't wait to be in bed with my dog. Like, that's
exactly.
my happy place.
Yeah, like I'm literally always waiting for the end in my head, but I'm like, this is great, but when is this going to be over?
Yes. Like, yeah, I can hang out every 2 weeks. Every two
Yeah, yeah,
That's what I
like
can do.
I want to do it all the time. It's just sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, now we're going to transition. We're going to do three things with Jen. I'm going to ask you three questions. It just helps our audience get to know you a little bit better. So the first question is a two-parter. Is how do you start and end the day?
I start my day with a nice long walk with my dog. Recently, I've incorporated going to the gym 3 times a week now
Mhm.
because my friend lives nearby and she has a gym. So I'm like, okay, let's go, let's do it. So that's been good. It's given me a lot of energy. And then ending the day is definitely with reflecting on what I'm grateful for that particular day because it just helps me stay in a state of gratitude and just be so thankful for the life that I live in general.
Mhm. Awesome. The second question, what's a goal or intention that you've set for yourself this year?
I wanted to be more disciplined around my health. I felt like if I can be disciplined with my health, then everything else will fall into place.
Mhm.
And I'm really seeing the fruits of that in that now that I'm working out, I have more energy to do the things. I have a lot of clarity when I sit down to work.
Mhm.
So that's really been helpful.
So, and the last question, where are you currently finding inspiration?
So I read The Gap and the Gain by Dan Sullivan and Benjamin Hardy. And that has been transformational in thinking about how I reflect on progress. And instead of thinking about how far I need to go, I get to really enjoy how far I've come.
Mhm.
So being inspired by that and inspired by how I'm making progress towards everything I've said I wanted and living the life that, Jen from 2016 couldn't have even imagined,
Right.
it's now happening, right? So just really being inspired by all that progress and continuing to be proud of myself in that way. Yeah.
Awesome. Love that. All right. So, Jen, I wanted to just thank you again for spending time with me and sharing with my community. What you said today has been, I think, will be very helpful to many. So, I want to thank you. And I want to also wish you so much success in your future and just love your outlook, love everything that you're doing. And I'm so glad that you were able to come today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
And I'm going to ask you one more question before I let you go. Can you please leave the audience with 3 things you'd like for them to take away from our conversation today?
Yeah. So, one, where there is a will, there is a way, right? You can find your way of getting to what you want if you are persistent enough with it. Two, take time to define success on your terms and go after that. I think sometimes we fall into the pattern of like, okay, this is the way it's supposed to be versus really like, what would make me happy? What is the vision I have for myself? And lastly, celebrate your wins.
Yes.
Celebrate more of your wins rather than ruminating on those failures. Like,
Yes.
celebrate how far you've come.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jen. Like I said, you can always come back and share with our community in the future.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back.